So hopefully IG will. Yes, it's working. Thank you. There she is. Hello, Miss Adora.
Hi, honey.
How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I'm gonna try and give them a few minutes to get a few people going. Hi,
Wave,
little
honey.
guy. Oh, look at he's waving. What's his name?
Arinze.
Can you say it one
Ar
more time?
Arinze. Arinze.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. That's
Thank you.
absolutely beautiful.
Thank you so
Beautiful.
much.
I'm gonna
Means
pull up questions for you on my
okay.
computer. And for those of you who are joining us, if we can get you guys to share and let other people know that we're here chatting with the now infamous GAP model who has breastfed in their advertisement. We would love and love and love to have as many people on here as we can.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll give them a couple more minutes to join, and then we'll get started. Let me open up these questions here. I'm so glad the app is working today. We had a lot of trouble with it on Wednesday.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry to hear that. I actually watched it. Thank you for sending it to me.
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I'm glad that you had a chance to. Okay, let's see. Where's my recent? Oh, there it is. Okay, awesome. Let me clean my glasses. Got fingerprints for my kids on my glasses.
Don't you love how they just get into everything and on everything?
Yes, no matter what. It's like, and I noticed too, sometimes it's not their fingers, sometimes it's their hair. Like the
Mm-hmm.
oil in their hair will like brush up against my face, and then it's like
Yeah.
all over my glasses.
Yeah. My husband, because you see all the hair that my son has, like, it's everywhere. It's just like he's like me, like everywhere in the house, you see like curls and like little, just marking
Yes,
our territory, I guess.
yes. So I want to just give a quick shout out to T. Marie Cav. Thank you so much for coming on with me last night, just so I could test this out and make sure everything was working all right. I was a little bit nervous. I was like, I want to do this, but I'm nervous we're not going to have a good opportunity to get on. So I'm glad that we were able to do that. So thank you. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Do you want to introduce yourself in a more formal fashion than I'm the gap model that was breastfeeding?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Adora Cobb. I'm publicly known as Adora Akubilo. I am married. I've been married now for the past 8 years, and that's my son there, Arinze, in the background, who I had the pleasure of working with when I got booked for the GAP campaign. So we're excited to be with you guys today. Thank you for reaching out.
Awesome, awesome. And so, yeah, as you can see, the breastfeeding community is a force, okay?
I,
It just took that one image for everyone to get, pretty hyped up, about what Gap was doing and what you were able to do so naturally, and they weren't able, they didn't have a problem with it. And that's
yeah.
something I think they're praising is the fact that, they looked at it as normal and natural as well,
Yes,
And
we can.
so I'm really glad that that it's you're gonna get a bunch of people coming on here and loving you. Okay.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna start with a
Honey.
few questions, but I just want you to know, like, we all understand your situation with him
Thank
on your lap right now.
you.
Oh, and if he wants to breastfeed, obviously that's totally fine. I was just gonna say, if he does start running around, don't feel like you have to sit in one place. I'm
Yeah.
fine with you moving around and all that because we understand what you're doing
I
right
know.
now.
It's like if anyone will understand, I know you group of women will. So thank you.
Yes, definitely. So, okay, so the first question was, where are you from and what's your family background?
I'm from Connecticut. My family background is Nigerian. My parents were both born and raised in Nigeria. I was born here, but I did have the chance of living in Nigeria for about 6 years when I was younger. So I consider myself a Nigeria girl. by way of Connecticut.
Nice, nice. And I don't know if I think I mentioned it to you when I first reached out, but my parents are also African.
Yeah.
They're from West Africa, from Ghana. And so I was really excited to find out that you were Nigerian and also like, first generation African American, like literally African American.
Yeah, right,
And
exactly.
yeah, there's, it's you tend to have that connection, and I actually haven't been home yet. So whenever I do, I'm definitely gonna be like, oh my gosh, Adora, it was
Yes,
amazing.
I know. There's nothing like it. I mean, it's the most one of like. I mean, it was hard because I had to transition and learn a
Mhm.
lot. I was different. I spoke differently, dressed differently. So I had to really kind of like assimilate into it. But I'm so glad for it. I'm so thankful for it. It's a beautiful country, but I haven't been since I was a kid. Really, time goes by so quickly. It's like, oh my gosh, I need to go visit. What do you need, baby? You need a snack? You need a snack? 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm so sorry. I'll be right back.
It's totally fine. Just so you know, feel free to take the phone with you if you need to. I'm okay with that. It's no big deal. For everybody who's joining, she just got up to get her son a snack. But she's coming right back. There she is.
Right here, guys. Thank you for your patience. I love these
So,
veggie sticks.
did you always want to be a model, or did you always know that that was what you wanted to do?
No, my mom first broached the topic to me, or the idea of becoming a model, when I was living in Nigeria. Actually, I was about 14 years old, and it just seemed to go against everything that my dad taught me. He was like, everything is about school, go to school, get an education. So I was not thinking about modeling at all. It just didn't fit what my father had instilled in me. So, but it wasn't until I moved back to America, I was about 16 or so, and I was scouted, and I was more open to the idea because I guess I needed that, that confidence booster, I guess. I was like, and my friends were saying, you can just do it, just try out for it. And it just seemed like, it seemed cool, it seemed more acceptable to be able to do it. So I'm just like, all right, let me give it a try. So that's pretty much how I got started. And once I got more involved in it, I became more passionate about it because I just wanted to win. I started setting goals for myself, certain clients that I wanted to book, certain billboards I wanted to see myself on, and things like that. So it became more of a challenge. So I became more open to it. And, I just started to enjoy it. So that's how it really came
That's
about. Mm-hmm.
that's amazing.
Thank you.
He's back there eating the snacks. He's happy
Yeah,
now.
exactly. He's got my iPad.
No judgment, okay? Listen, my kids are all at school now. That's the only reason I'm even doing this. I have three.
I know. It was so cool to learn that yesterday when I saw your other video. I was like, she's got 3. That's like the number I want. I'm trying to get, I think that's a good number.
I don't want to deter you, but 2 is the hardest, I
2.
think,
Yeah.
because there's one mom
Yeah.
and 2 kids that want all of your attention.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Once there's 3, the older 2 kind of break off and they'll hang out together while you're dealing with the baby.
Yeah.
And I think 3 is a good number. I really wanted 4 so that they could pair off themselves, but
Exactly.
we experienced loss last year, and after that, I was kind of like, I think I'm done. I think I'm good
Yeah.
with.
Yeah. They usually
So
tell you, how much they need. Like, give us one more, mommy, or no, or whatever. And you know how much you can handle, you and your husband, your
well,
partner.
my oldest he's continuing to ask for another baby because he looks at it like, 4 is better because then the baby will have someone to play with. And I have my little sister, so I want him to have a little sister or a little brother. And
Yeah.
he's really persistent. I mean, he asks me like at least once a week.
See? These
I
kids know
think
what
it's
they want.
also,
What was
what's
that?
that?
I said, these kids know what they want. They
Yes.
tell you. I mean, kids they're the best communicators. It's just a matter of not we want to listen to them or not. It's like, or like pretend like we don't hear them. Like,
Right, right.
you can just say that, okay?
And you saw the video we did a couple of days ago about intimacy. It's like when I think about going back to stage 1, I'm like, I don't know.
That's the one. That's the one that I watched.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's a lot, you know, and I'm so glad that you had that, because it's something that a lot of moms don't talk about, or are too embarrassed to talk about, or things like that. But a lot of those things, those scenarios and stories that you shared, are things that I, you know, went through, and, you know, I had going on in my head too, you know. So I know it's not easy. I mean, I think I have a husband who is, you know, very cooperative, and he's willing to, he doesn't even care. You know, he just tries to get it when he can get it. He's not fancy, you know, he's not very picky, you know, he's just, okay, if you're on board, I'm on board, you know? So.
Right. Right. And it has to be that way, I think, in order for you to be able to develop a decent intimacy or sex life, you know, with each other. There
Yeah.
has to be a whole lot of cooperation.
Oh
There
my
can't
God.
really be any expectation of like climax, because you will be interrupted at some point in time.
Yeah, I
You
heard.
know?
I heard from your story. That's exactly what goes down. Uh-huh.
It's
Uh-huh.
crazy.
I
Yeah.
heard.
Well, I'm going to ask you a few more questions here. Did you always know you wanted to have children? What about that one?
Yeah, I did. I did always know, but you know, as life goes on, you know, reality sets in. It's like, is this possible? Is it the right time in my career? Am I going to be a good enough mom? So these are the kind of, like, you know, things, like barriers, I guess, that kind of got in the way. And I actually had a conversation with my husband one time, you know, would he be okay if we didn't have kids? This was after we, oh, thank you, sweetie. Oh, I'm not
I
doing thank
love when babies feed their mommies.
you, so kind. I
I
love you.
love it.
He's so amazing. Thank you, baby. So yeah, you know, because, you know, when we bought our home, thank you, baby. When we bought our home, you know, we wanted to make sure we got it in a town that had a good school system. You know, we wanted to get a house that, you know, we could grow in, you know, as a family. So again, yeah, definitely, for sure. But there was a time there where I was like, oh, I don't even know if this is possible. I don't know if I like kids. You know, I don't know if I'm going to be a good mom. Oh, baby. Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm thirsty now. So yeah, but you know, once we made the decision, and the way that came about actually is a story behind, you know, us finally conceiving Arinze. Can I share the story, please, honey? I was at church one day, and a woman looked at me and said, she was like, you know, I don't know which one of you, it's either you or your husband having fears about having kids, but the Lord told me to tell you that it's time. It's time to have the baby, and don't worry about anything else, kind of thing.
Right.
So I've got my poker face on. I'm just like, well, okay, you know, thank you, but you know, all right, well, you know, thank you for sharing. So I get in the car with my husband, and I'm just like, and I tell him the story. I'm just like, yeah. So this is what this woman said to me. She's like, you know, God spoke to her and said, you know, you need to have children. I'm like, so what you scared of? So you don't want to have kids, you know, or are you scared about something or whatever? He's like, no, I'm not scared. Like, you know, I'm ready. You know, I've been ready to have kids. Like, I'm waiting on you. And meanwhile, I'm just like, oh gosh, okay, so I don't have any excuses now. You know, so Mama? Yes, baby. So I was
Hi,
like,
baby.
well, you know, if the Lord speaks, the Lord, you know, I got to obey, you know. So it was after that. I think maybe that's like what I needed, that confirmation, I guess, from the Most High, you know, to say
Right.
it's time for the baby. And so that's when I was able to confidently say, okay, let's try it, you know. So.
Well, we're all happy you did. He was like, I got a plan for that baby. You need to
I
go on
know,
and do
right?
it.
I'm telling you.
Right.
Yeah, it's
That's
good to
awesome.
obey.
Right. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate your obedience. I appreciate your obedience. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And you know what? It's funny, and I'm not gonna go on a complete spiritual tip right now, because
Right.
I want to respect everyone's beliefs and all of that. But I can say that it's funny how things work out. When they say everything happens for a reason,
Yeah.
sometimes it's that. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's just that person who was being obedient and
Right.
doing what they knew they had to do, and
Yeah.
it trickled down and it ended up benefiting everyone else below. So we all appreciate your obedience. We really do.
Thank you. Thank you so
Do.
much. Thank you.
So how did you feel about breastfeeding when you were pregnant?
Oh wow. So when I was Yeah, oh, yes, baby. So that's when I was pregnant, that's when I started getting that question. Mm, yes, baby. That's when I first started getting that question a lot. I started getting that question. Yeah, he has a very high pitch. I don't know. He didn't get it from me. But I started getting that question a lot when I was pregnant. And honestly, I was very surprised when I got that question because I assumed that every mother breastfed. I didn't realize that, some women didn't have the option to breastfeed. I didn't realize that some women chose not to or whatever, had all these different variables as to why women didn't breastfeed. I just thought that most women did, or all women did, honestly. So when I would get that question, I'd look at people like, I'm like, of course, like when my doctor would ask, I'm like, yes, so. And then that's when I started to become more educated and started to become more informed as to, all these different variables that make it challenging sometimes for women to nurse. So thankfully, when he was born, at the hospital, he was able to, latch and, we started almost immediately, and we haven't looked back since.
Awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So he was ready. He was like, I know what I'm here to do.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
I know my purpose.
Yes, absolutely. I had a few, maybe the time, the day I was there, the first day, I definitely required the lactation nurse to come and help me out and show me and guide me and things like that, because I wasn't sure I was getting the latch on correctly, and it was a little bit painful and, and things like that. So, but yeah, the nurses were great. They would come in and show me how to do it, and he was more than willing to just, do it. And he was just, yeah. So it was pretty smooth, I guess, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, Kimberly's on with us. Look, she just got on. Hey, Kimberly, I'm going to give you a little shout out. Kimberly Seals Allers is watching, you guys. She's the author of The Big Letdown.
Hi, Kimberly.
I'm so happy she was able to join us.
Yay.
We got the app working, finally, 3 days later. Oh, my goodness. So we're going to be rescheduling that live, okay, Kimberly? So my next question is, can you tell us a little bit about your birth experience?
Yeah, my birth experience was scheduled. So I was a scheduled C-section. And the reason I got a C-section was because a year and a half prior to me conceiving my son, I had a procedure to have these fibroids removed from my uterus that my doctors had, recommended me to remove it because they thought it would be, difficult for me to get pregnant. So they wanted to get it out. So I was, so that's what happened. So she warned me when I got the surgery that, I would need to get a C-section. This is what she told me. So just follow my doctor's recommendation. I went ahead and had the surgery to get the fibroids removed. And then when I had my baby, I had the C-section from that same incision area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was scheduled. I knew when he was coming, what time, what day. I had my lip gloss and my nail polish all set and ready to go. So I was looking a little cute. Oh, so I didn't break a sweat. I did not break a sweat.
That is awesome. Oh my goodness. That is awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. I know not everybody's always comfortable, so I appreciate that.
No, it's okay.
So you already said things went pretty smoothly. My question was, how was breastfeeding during the first 7 days of postpartum? Do you want to go into any details of some of the things you were going through your head, some of the things that you were thinking about when you were breastfeeding during that first week?
Let's see.
Do you remember any really
it's kind of
difficult?
Like a blur. I think it's like a little bit of a blur right now, but I mean, I didn't really have. I mean, I quite enjoyed it. I mean, that's because I was able to really get some good sleep. When I was nursing, I would just bring, I know they say don't do this, please, Lord, guys, don't judge me, but I had him in the bed with me, because
yeah, I co-slept with all three, so
yeah, my baby was right there in the nook of my arm, and he would just have at it, I'd fall asleep, I'd wake up, and he'd still be latched on there, so for me, it was, I felt like he was getting the food, I wasn't necessarily worried about him not getting enough because he was pretty much on me all night, He'd wake up to it, it'd be there. So it was just a part of, you know, a huge part, I feel like, in you know, being a mom, you know, because I felt like that's what all I could give him. You know, I could give him like the love and the, you know, the nurturing and the kisses, which I, you know, I couldn't get enough, you know, of giving him. I can hug him and all that stuff, but that was like a constant as well. Like that was something that I know that he relied on and looked forward to for like, you know, for his nutrients and also for that, you know, that intimacy. So it was really good.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny how when we see these different articles come out, you know, shaming moms for bed sharing, it's like, look, if we want to make breastfeeding normal, bed sharing also has to be normal because that is the way that you really establish breastfeeding. Um,
Right.
it's it's okay if he wants to talk, it's fine.
Yeah, he's
He
telling
can
me to
share if he
shush.
wants.
Excuse you? I'm talking here. You can talk too. I can't stop talking. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's totally normal. And I don't
Yeah.
want you to feel shame or judgment at all for bed
Thank
sharing.
you.
Especially because you're giving your baby not only their nutrients, you're feeding
Mm-hmm.
them, you're giving them their drink, you're also providing that close skin to skin, and the
Yeah.
skin to skin is going to help to develop that that milk volume that you need. Plus,
Right.
you're not worried about how much he's getting because he's always on there, so you know he's getting something, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, bed sharing is fine, and I do want to at least say if you're gonna do it safely. You know, at least practice safe bed sharing practices. Um, but we all do that, so
Yeah.
don't feel bad about that at all.
Yay. Yeah, so that's, yeah, it was just a part of, you know, us getting to know each other better and bonding. So that, yeah, the breastfeeding was a huge part of that because he was always like on mommy. And he
Yeah,
was close to daddy too because daddy wasn't too far. He was like right there in the bed, like, you know, right with us.
yeah,
So it's
that's
bonding for all of us.
awesome. This is one of my questions, but did he do a lot of skin to skin with the baby?
My husband,
Hmm.
my husband, yeah, he did. He absolutely
That's
did.
awesome.
That those nights in the hospital when I was just too tired, you know,
Hmm.
my husband just took over and he was just like on him.
Oh, that's amazing. That's
Yep.
amazing.
Hmm.
So I wanted to find out, did you ever feel like you were going to quit? Have you gone through like not in the beginning, so like throughout the entire time that you have been breastfeeding him now, have you ever had a moment where you're like, I don't know if this is gonna last very much longer?
I've never had that moment. I think the only time when I felt I was really concerned like that was when I had to express. I couldn't express. And I think now it's probably because he was always on me and I just didn't have enough to, you know, express with. But like there, you know, there were times when I, you know, couldn't bring him with me on set. So I wanted to have enough milk, you know, whatever. And I failed miserably. And I was just like, oh my God, like I started to like panic. Like I was like, is he getting enough? If I don't have enough to express, is he getting enough for my, you know, for my breast period, you know? So I was just, there was a time that was like the only really, you know, time that I really freaked out was like when I wasn't able to express. But in terms of like quitting, like just wanted to quit nursing, no, you know, because, you know, nothing really, I didn't really have any obstacle getting in my way to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like the biggest
Yeah.
obstacle was me, the inability to have enough money. I'm sorry, have enough to express that's it. But I just enjoy it, you know, and he enjoys it too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
That's
really don't have
awesome.
to quit just yet.
Right, right. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How did you feel the first time someone asked you about weaning your son?
Well, you know, they would ask me, like, you know, family members would say to me, you know, they would tease me. They would say, "So how long you gonna nurse for?" And this was like, he wasn't even a year at this point. You know what I mean? Like, he was just like a few months. Like, and people would ask me that question. And
Mm.
so I was just like, you know, and I would say, well, I do the recommended. I think at the time, maybe not, I thought it was 6 months. That's what they were, you know, that's what I think people in the street would say. But his doctors and stuff, the professionals, they were like, no, you know, a year, you know. But, you know, it's funny, you get mixed you get mixed messages, you get mixed information. Some said 6 months, some said a year. So I was like, well, whatever the minimum is, that's how long I'm going to do it for. Because, and I think I
Right.
said that because I felt like I wanted people to kind of get off my back. You know, I'm like, well, I'm just going to do this because that's what is the standard, right? And so that's what I'm going to do. So, but then as I was doing it, you know, it's so weird. I found myself kind of like, you know, ticking down the clock because I'm just like, whoa, if I keep, you know, nursing him past this time, then, you know, people are probably going to think that there's something wrong with me or that I'm doing something wrong. And that's what it felt like. It just felt like I
Yeah.
was doing something wrong by, you
Right.
know, by not looking at you know, by putting a time on it, you know, by putting a limit on it, you know? So, I mean, yeah, but that's how it felt. It felt, you know, I felt kind of like, why am I I'm feeling really judged right now. Like, I feel like I'm doing something wrong right now by wanting to continue to breastfeed my son. So,
I'm gonna give you the information that I'm actually in the lactation education course at UCSD right now to become an educator. So I'm
nice.
gonna tell you exactly what they told us to tell anyone who asks how long they should breastfeed. Okay.
Okay.
They said that according to the American Pediatric Association, that mom and baby should breastfeed for a minimum of 6 months. Um,
Mm-hmm.
according to the World Health Organization,
Right.
um, all the way. So they asked that it should continue as supplemental nutrition after solids have been introduced, all the way up until the minimum for the WHO for the World Health Organization is actually 2 years.
Oh,
But they
wow.
say that worldwide they want moms to at least do exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months. So exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months, and then continuing breastfeeding up to a year, and beyond that if mother and baby desire. And
Right.
so I always just, I kind of start out with like the minimum is 2 years, but then a lot of people freak out. They're like, whoa, I don't want this big kid on my boob.
Yeah.
I
Right.
like that this education class, kind of breaks it down and says, look, exclusively it should be 6 months. And then if you
Right.
can go beyond that breastfeeding, go at least to a year. And then
Right.
beyond that, whenever you feel comfortable, to continue nursing. So
Right.
I really, number one, I commend you for nursing beyond 1 year. Um,
His doctor does too. She's like,
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm glad.
yeah, like
Right.
when
And
everyone else was just like, you know, why are you like they're being judgmental? I felt like his doctor was like the one person who was like amazing, like, you know, like personal cheerleader, and it made me feel so good about myself. Made me feel so good. I'm
that's
like,
awesome.
oh yay, thanks.
That's awesome. I'm so glad you have that support because honestly, the pediatrician plays a really big role. They play a
Yeah,
really big role in how long mothers breastfeed. And I
yeah,
get
they do.
questions all the time about, oh, why is my doctor telling me that because my baby's 8 months, I need to start weaning him off? And I'm like, why is your doctor telling you that?
Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah.
So
So
a
I
lot of
felt
moms are not getting that support.
that makes me sad a little bit, you know, because I've experienced the opposite, you know. I've experienced, you know, her here. You want some milk, baby? Mama. Yeah. Yeah, milk? Milk. Milk. Here. Here, have some milk. You don't want any? You don't want any? Um so
It's like, wait, are they watching me? Are they watching?
you don't
That's
want to
so funny.
audience. So yeah, I knew that was special, you know, because I in the back of my mind, I was like, are all doctors like this, you know? And not that I was, you know, I I had the doubt, you know, I had the doubt. So I definitely really appreciated it when I would walk in there and she pretty much almost wanted to do cartwheels, and she was so ecstatic that I was still nursing him, and I was just like, oh my god, like I needed that, and you know, and that's what I could, you know, if anyone would challenge me, I could say, well, this is what the doctor said. Well, his doctor, okay, the one with the law, I'm sorry, the degree said that, you know, it's okay that I'm doing what I'm doing, you know.
Right, right. And that's very cool. And I hope that more doctors will become like this later on down the line, because at the end of the day, really what the problem is, and I'm gonna address this just from my own opinion. I believe that the problem with doctors not supporting moms is that doctors are not educated about lactation when they're going through their schooling. They are not
Right.
educated about lactation. They do not know the depth and the breadth of breast milk and what it has to offer for moms. Most of
Right.
them don't. It's the ones who pursue it and really want that information and that research, that actually know, like, okay, this is actually the ideal. Um, to be able to support the moms that they're seeing every day, you got to understand, if you tell them, okay, it's probably time to start weaning your baby off, 90% of moms are going to be like, okay,
Right. Right.
you know, and if they would just say, this is the minimum for exclusive, this is how long we'd like to see you breastfeed. And if you can go beyond that, if you and baby desire, then that would be even more amazing. That's
Yeah.
all they really need to say for a mom to say, okay, maybe I'll continue, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If there's anything that I want to, the message that I want to share today and get through to mamas is that, that was very important to me, having a pediatrician who really completely like supported and championed, me and the process of nursing him, so definitely you need that. You need a doctor who, because at the end of the day, like, yeah, you need to hear that, but it's the health benefits of your son and all the other benefits that come with nursing that he's receiving as well. So if she's looking out for you, she's really looking out for him, and that's
Right.
the most important thing. So you want a doctor who's going to, have him in mind and what he needs. So
Right.
milk. Yes, exactly. Milk.
It's so hilarious.
Milk.
He's like on it, and he's like, "Oh, are they still watching?" So I was gonna say, what was my next question? What was my question? I skipped one, I think. Oh, no, no, okay, here we are. So did you know your baby would want to breastfeed on set? Like, what was your personal plan? Like that day when you went in and you knew you were just gonna be holding him, did you know he was gonna eventually turn around and be like, "Can I get some
Yeah.
milk?"
Yeah, I knew
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
did.
Did you think
I
that
was,
there was
I
going
don't
to
know
be
that
a
they knew.
photograph?
I'm sorry.
Did
I'm
you think
sorry.
there was going to be a photograph at all, or what was your plan like initially before you went
Honestly,
in?
I did not have a plan. My only plan is when this boy asks for some, I give it to him, and everything else just kind of has to, be on hold. So I don't, I wasn't even anticipating all that. I really, and that's the honest to God truth. Like I don't even think about what's going on around me and things like that. I think about what he needs and just, paying attention to his needs and just giving him what he needs. That's it. That's all I was doing that day. It was just like, okay, well, he needs this right now. So I'm just gonna take a break and just, give it to him. And then they were like, okay, yeah, go ahead. You can do it right there. And, we'll keep shooting if you want. And I'm like, okay, well, if you like it, I love it, because this is what we
Right,
do.
right.
You
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I sent
yeah,
a message to your photographer too because you had tagged her, and I was like, "Thank you so much. You're not
yeah,
only promoting breastfeeding, you're helping me to build this niche, because
yeah.
breastfeeding photography. This is something I had no idea. I had no plan on talking about, but I just want to say really quickly, breastfeeding photography is not new. Okay, this niche has been around since back in the day. You can
Right.
see all of these old school portraits of mothers breastfeeding their babies. And the
Oh,
funny thing about it is, back then, it wasn't digital. It wasn't something that was just like, oh, hey, look, I'm breastfeeding my baby. It was a print. And that's why we can now share these things online, because it was a print that was so nicely done that we can now scan it and put it in a digital format. So
amazing.
breastfeeding photography is not new.
Yeah.
And for people to be upset about it, like, I'm sure you've seen people say, like, I don't want to see her boob. I don't want to see this. I don't want to. I'm sure you've seen the negative comments flying.
I
Okay.
actually have not, girl. I maybe it's just because I've
You
been getting so
haven't?
much outpour of love and stuff like that, but I haven't. But I'm not surprised
That's
by
good.
it because I've seen it with other people.
Right.
I've seen other mothers be kind of like people try to shame them. It's like y'all need to stop. Just quit it.
Right.
Just stop it. Just stop because this is not going to stop. So you may as
Right.
well. Oh, thank you, baby. You know, us, it's not going to stop. Okay? We're going to keep doing what we do, whether you like it or not. That's why I'm so unapologetic about it. And I'm like, I'm not going to say I would dare somebody to challenge me, but I'm always like ready because I've heard the stories. You know, I've seen the headlines and I'm just like, huh. Now, I don't want to have to tell anybody about themselves. So if you want to try to tell me about what I'm doing, you know, but I don't want to have to go there. But I'm also not willing. I'm willing to educate people and let them know and keep them informed about what it is, you know. So,
Right.
but it's okay. Like it doesn't even. I'm not even fazed by it. I think it's
That's amazing because a lot of moms, some moms, they do take it personally, and it's like you can't because a lot of these people are just uneducated. They have no clue. You know, they
exactly.
have no idea.
Yeah.
Let's see. What was my next question? I have a few more.
Okay.
So let's see. How did you feel when you started to see that your image from the GAP advertisement was being praised?
Oh my God, I felt great. I felt like, oh my God, it just felt so meaningful, you know, and I was just really grateful, very thankful. More so the fact that other women felt empowered by it. You know what I mean? The fact that other women, because like, you know, this was nothing new. I've been photographed with my baby nursing before, you know what I mean? And I'm just so used to doing it, but just not at this in such a public way, I guess. But the fact that other women are inspired by it and empowered by it, that just makes me so happy because it makes me sad when, you know, women are ashamed or feel like they're not being supported or they feel the stigma of nursing their children. That just is upsetting to me. So if women are seeing this ad, seeing me nursing my son and getting that confidence and feeling okay to nurse their child, whether they are a few months old or 2, 3, 4 years old, then oh my God, I'm for it. Like I'm living for it. Like I love it. I absolutely love it. And I had no idea that it would, you know, I didn't even know they were going to use the picture, but you know, I don't care. The fact that they are, and the fact that it's, you know, that, you know, so many women are loving it and being inspired and uplifted by it. Oh my God. Like keep it coming, you know,
Right.
I'm all for it.
That's
I am all for it.
So I think a couple of these questions have become irrelevant based on your previous answers.
What's
I'm going
that?
to ask you, how long do you think your son will want to continue to breastfeed?
My husband says 16.
That is such a perfect answer, right? Like right before he's ready to like, okay, now it's time to start looking for a girlfriend. Wow, that is hilarious.
He's
That is
like, he's never
hilarious.
gonna wanna get off. And I'm like, you know, whatever.
He's just hating. He's just hating. He's hating.
Exactly. I'm like, stop, you know. But I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. I really don't know. But I really, just like with everything else that Arinze has taught me about motherhood and, you know, my parenting, he has to be the one to kind of show me. And I think we'll both know. Like I knew when it was time for him to leave the bed. Like he told me a month before, but I wasn't ready. I still wanted him in the bed with me. You know, but he had shown signs to me that he was ready to leave, but mommy didn't want to accept it. So, you know, I
Right,
feel
right.
like, you know, when he starts to communicate that he's ready, then that's when we'll do it, you know. But until
That's
then, I can't really see myself necessarily just weaning him off right now. I just can't see myself doing that. You know, I just can't. So I don't know, you know, and the answer is I really don't know. And it's not something that I'm going to fret over, just like with any other aspect of parenting. Like, you know, we'll cross that bridge when it gets there. Right now, I'm just trying to get through today,
right.
this hour.
This moment, him running around with snacks and making the
Exactly.
house look crazy while I'm on this live video, right?
Exactly.
What did he
That is
find?
that.
Controller.
What was that?
I was wondering what he had in his hand. It looks like a
Oh, he had.
remote. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Well,
So,
that was my last question. Do you have any questions for me?
Well, I think so with you, and I know you said you have three children,
Hmm.
right? So your youngest is how old?
My youngest is now 4. He just turned 4 in January.
Okay.
And my middle child, my only daughter, she is 7. She'll be 8 in May. And then my oldest is 10, and he'll be 11 in November.
And did you nurse all of your three children?
I did. So my story's kind of crazy. I'm not going to get into the whole entire thing, but I'll give you a very brief rundown.
Okay, yeah, for
Um,
sure.
right. With my first, he was born very small. He was only 4 pounds, 9.5 ounces. So I had to pump exclusively for 8 weeks
Hmm.
before he was able to really latch on. I was committed because my mom is African and she breastfed all of us. So I was like, this is what I have to do to breastfeed my baby.
Right, right, right.
So I did that, and he did. He latched on it at 8 weeks while I was in a chiropractic appointment. My chiropractor was like, "Let's just see if he latches on," because I was like, I can't bottle feed him with the breast milk while I'm laying on the chiropractic table.
Right.
Um, so yeah, so he started breastfeeding at 8 weeks. We only made it to 6 months. It was technically 4 months for him, because I had postpartum. I got postpartum
Mhm.
depression and psychosis, and I was hospitalized like 4 times. I
Oh
went
wow.
like cuckoo,
Wow.
because I just had lack of sleep. I was
Mm.
sleep
Oh.
deprived to the end,
Hmm.
and I couldn't make up the sleep that I had lost. And
Hmm.
I was checked out. My mind just turned off and was like, we're not going to do this anymore.
Right, right.
Um, so then with my daughter, we breastfed from the very beginning, but once I hit like that 2 week mark where you start to really feel exhausted, I started feeling like I started having flashbacks of being in the hospital, and I was
Hmm.
like, not this time. It's not going to happen. And I trusted my body to make the milk. It was that I needed the sleep, and I
Hmm.
couldn't pump enough at that time to be able to provide for my husband. So I strapped her up on my back, and I walked down to the corner store and I bought formula. And that
Okay.
was how I dealt with that sleep deprivation. I had my husband feed her. We supplemented, so I was still breastfeeding, but when I needed that sleep, like that 4 hour chunk of time to sleep,
Right.
he would give her formula, and he didn't even want to do it. He was like, "I'm not gonna feed her formula." I was like, "Oh yes, you are. Oh
Uh-huh.
yes, you are." I was like, "You want to see me go back to the hospital?" It
Right.
was like I have to take care of my mental health.
Exactly.
So we actually breastfed for 11 months, which was way longer than my first. She
Hmm.
weaned during a nursing strike. I thought she was like done, but she really was just like, I don't want to deal with you right now.
Yeah.
And so then she weaned at 11 months. And then my last son, which is the son that's been pretty much featured all across this project, he latched on the first day, no problem, after a beautiful water birth. And he breastfed for 3 years straight, no issues.
Wow.
He taught
Wow.
me about breastfeeding. Like, I didn't even know that much about breastfeeding. He taught me,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I
So,
totally I totally agree with you on that, and I'm so happy with your journey, and it's different, and I love how, with your three children, you can show like the spectrum of it. It's not necessarily just one thing. It's just your baby's the one a lot of times who has to, tell you what it is that they need and how this is going to go down. You can try to plan and do all this if you want to, but you know what? We have our challenges as women, and our babies, they're their own person, and so they have their own needs as well. So it's just all we can do is just really just try to do the best that we can and support each other in that. That's like my big thing. But I feel like thing, the last reason why a mother should not want to nurse is people feeling condemned or judged by people. That I don't want that to be an excuse for
right,
mothers not wanting to nurse. Those
right,
other things that whatever that stuff. Okay, you can't really help that, but
right,
people nastiness and views and just being right up straight up mean and educate or uninformed or whatever, that should not be a reason. And
right,
I want that to to just stop.
right,
I'm not
right.
going to the bathroom to nurse my kid during dinner when we're out. My husband, if I leave, he's gonna eat all my fries. I'm gonna stay right here. It's gonna get cold. You know, I'm going to sit right here and feed him and eat my fries before it gets cold or it gets ate by my husband. So I'm not getting up and going to that, you know, nasty bathroom, you know, to feed, you know, to nurse my child because you're uncomfortable with it. Bye. You know.
Right.
I can't, I won't.
I love it. I love it. And I love that you have developed all of these things naturally. It's not something that you had to think about and had to, well, what do I do? And this and that. I think maybe the one thing you struggled with was just people questioning you breastfeeding beyond a certain point. But outside of that, it seems like you really have come into your own in mothering
Yeah.
your child because you
Yeah.
trusted the process, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a really beautiful thing. That's what
Yeah.
people are inspired by. That's what people are
Aw.
motivated and empowered by. I'm so serious. It's empowering me,
Yeah.
and I'm not even breastfeeding anymore.
Right. Yeah. No, it's the honest to God truth, you know, like I'm just like, you know, any other woman out there who's experienced the shame and not knowing, and I'm like, this is my first child. Like, I really don't know. I hear what you're saying and I see what this woman is saying, but I just know my particular circumstance and, you know, what my baby's telling me, you know, you don't know. You just don't know, you know, the kind of parent you're going to be until you actually become one, and then you see what works. You just go with the flow and, you know, respond to your baby and what they need and things like that. And I did have some amazing women along the way, you know, in addition to my doctor who was said, you know, who would tell me, well, I breastfed for my child till they were like 2, or I did it till this and I did it till that, you know, and that's what we need to hear, you know, because that keeps us going. If we had any inkling or any doubt, you know, we keep going. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, it's nice to have that extra encouragement to, you know, that affirmation, to know that I'm doing the right thing and it's okay, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's
Well,
it.
Adora, I know he's getting a little bit antsy now. I just got my notification that my battery on my phone is like, we're
Okay.
done. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for just being so sweet and open and willing
Oh,
to do this live video with me
of course.
at a
Of
short
course.
notice.
Oh,
I
it's
appreciate
fun.
you. I
Thank
really
you.
do.
Me too.
The
And thank
video
you so
should
much.
be up on the replay for the next 24 hours. I still have not figured out how to save these videos. I have no clue. I will
And
send
I
it to
can't
you
tell
if
you.
I can.
I
I have
can't.
no
I
idea.
can't. Until I found out how to get to you for this live thing. I was like, oh my God, how do I? This is my first one. I didn't know what I was
Right,
doing. So.
right. If anyone is watching and they know how to save your live videos, please comment so I can save this. And we're going to
Yes,
post your questions and answers on the blog,
yeah.
hopefully with this video. And so that we can continue to spread this message because it's very
Yes.
beautiful, and I'm so grateful to be a small part of it. Definitely reach out and tell GAP I said hello. Tell them that we want to definitely help them promote this. It's amazing, and I'm so thrilled at what they're doing for moms, supporting moms.
Oh my God, I am too. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
I love you
everybody.
so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day and have a great weekend. And everyone else too that's watching, have a wonderful weekend. And we'll be back soon. All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Go ahead, baby. Do it. You gotta blow it now.
So sweet.
Oh God.
All
Oh,
right. Thank you
all
so much,
right.
Adora.
Thank you.
All
I'll
right.
talk. All right. Bye.
Bye.